goes another 20-year-old.
Holy shit, I hate those guys.
Gotta hate 20-year-olds.
Fuck those guys.
Somebody help these 20-year-olds.
It's time to figure it out, Ricky.
Touch me.
Don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me. Hello and welcome to Too Many Jams. It's a show about all things 20-year-old.
With help from friends, experts, and our own personal experiences, we hope to shed some light on those things that leave our age group lost and confused.
If you're watching on the camera right now, you can see we're joined by Pat Greenall, the one and only, not small, very muscular man.
Big body presence.
And before we get into his episode, we give a shout out to True History Beer here. Pat, if you want to have a little sip.
Yeah, I gotta try this out.
First taste?
Out of the can, even though I already poured the glass. It's really good, actually.
It is. It's a Pilsner. Yeah. It's easy to drink. It's our friend's beer. We say it every episode. You're going to buy beer anyway. You know, instead of buying from Molson and all that, like, why not get from a buddy, especially if it's good?
Support a couple friends.
Can's really cool.
Great beer.
Like the can, too.
They got a few more coming out, too, so stay tuned for, you know, what's going on in the True History world. That's
at True History Brewing. And then, obviously, we got Wrist and Rye. Big Black Friday.
Huge weekend for the kid.
That's why I'm a little busy today, but also Landia Jewelry for women's jewelry did really well this weekend, so give them a shout out. Jams 15 for 15% off at Wrist and Rye. Now that that's out of the way, the real meat and potatoes here. We got Pat Greenall, and you may even know who he is. If you went to Western, you might recognize his name or his videos and stuff like that. But we've had a bit of a weird path crossing history.
No, definitely.
What are those videos?
Yeah, some of those videos back in the day when I was at Western. I actually didn't really like going out at the beginning of school. I just didn't really like the idea of going and getting fucked up and everything. So I kind of thought that it would be jokes to troll the people who were bombed on Richmond Row.
Yeah.
And so I was like, why not just go out and just kind of troll them, I guess, or ask them questions that I felt like they were easy normally, but while they were drunk, they probably wouldn't be able to answer. And yeah, from that, it kind of just turned into some crazy, wild video stuff. And then I kind of only did it while I was in school because it was fun and I was there.
And it was different than going out.
Yeah, and you could still kind of go out and have fun, but you'd be doing something in the meantime, I guess.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I didn't want to be that guy that would go back to school to film these videos. I'm not trying to be a 25-year-old guy and be
Krill or something.
So how's it go? Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. And
those were dark times when Krill would come in.
Oh my god,
we'd host them sometimes, and it was a little dark. I can see the
little is an understatement. It was very dark.
But I have a couple questions about that. Did those videos have a name, a consistent title that people recognize them by?
It was usually a drunk interviews, or it was I'd usually hit with the school. So it would usually be it was Western drunk interviews, and then whatever the topic was, or it would be Guelph, or it would be something along the lines of that. Yeah.
So my questions are, because that people now might say, oh, that's not a unique idea because they've seen it done a bunch. But at the time, that was a unique idea.
At the time, years ago, at the time.
It kind of was the first of its kind. Right?
Did you, and you said, oh, I thought this would be a troll, but did you see that style of video anywhere, or did you just kind of naturally think it was funny?
Well, I saw something like that actually. People I don't know if you guys remember, there's a YouTuber that's name was Kasim G.
Love Kasim.
And back in the day, he used to do these episodes called California On, where he'd be in Venice Beach and he would ask people, and the people at Venice Beach are just wild.
We've been there. Yeah,
wild people at Venice Beach, and some of their answers are just hilarious. So I kind of got the inspo from that because I used to love watching his videos. And so I also just realized, Western was a place that, especially from Wednesday to almost Sunday, really, people were just intoxicated the entire time. So I figured the answers were going to be crazy.
You can find some characters, definitely. And the videos got
they got tons of traction.
Virality, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I originally just made them as a joke. I just kind of wanted to post them and
for your buddies, or
yeah. Well, I always threw it up on YouTube with the assumption that maybe somebody would watch them.
Yeah,
but I never didn't really know how many people would watch them, and I didn't really think about that while I was posting it until maybe the third or fourth or fifth video in, because that's when people started actually
getting shared and stuff. Okay, so my other questions were, what is your, because I know that's when I met you. Virtually. That's when I knew what your name was.
Oh, did you guys meet way back then, or you just knew of
just
him
virtually?
From the
like I just know
videos?
who he was. I only met him after graduating in person, and I knew nothing about you. And I wouldn't have assumed any of that. I actually would have assumed by the way you looked that maybe you did like to party, and stuff like that. But you said you came in knowing you really didn't want to get fucked up. What kind of what's your kind of history that even like gave you that mentality? Because I came to college wanting to get fucked up.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Well, no, it evolved into that essentially. It made me want to go out after that, because eventually I got sick of making those types of videos because it wasn't as fun anymore, and it was like the same shit, and I kind of got bored of it, I guess. But what put my mentality on the way in was originally I wanted to go to school to be a cop. And
shut the fuck up.
Yeah. That's I went to school originally
I could see
to
you
be
being
a
a cop.
So I was like, yeah, okay, like I'm going into policing. In the first year that I was actually at Fanshawe. The first year I was there, I actually like liked the program. I was like, all right, like sure, like this is fine. Like given all the people in my residence and surrounding me were unfortunately like very like interesting people. I don't want to generalize like all of Fanshawe, because like there's a lot of smart people there too, but at the same time like there was a lot of
downs.
There's a lot of interesting human beings at that school.
Yeah.
And so yeah, eventually I realized like second year in that I just did not want to be a cop, and then I started making these videos. But I stayed in the program because like I knew as long as I was in the program, like I'd be here for a while. I could like mess around with the videos, and like the program wasn't that hard. Like I was like, sure, like I'll just stay here for a little while, and kind of like translated that way, I guess.
So, but in high school and stuff, were you always making videos? Were you always creative?
This actually kind of funny. So how I actually started making any videos at all was because of my ex-girlfriend at the time, which is
what'd she do to you?
Which is like, which is like a classic, like, you know, you don't want to give her credit, but like I probably should type situation. But yeah, back in that day, that was like 2009, 2010.
Yeah,
that was when I was in grade 10.
Yeah,
and back in the day, like boyfriend tags and like tags were like popular. And she hit me and she was like, hey, like, I want you to do this thing on YouTube. Like, I want you to like film this with me. And originally, like, as like a high school boy, you're like, no, you're like guarding your masculinity. You're like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. Like, but you know, eventually I just did it. And that ended up getting like 1.5 million views.
What? Was she like a YouTube person?
Did she have a following already?
No,
what was this video? Why was it
She just hit the trend. Like the boyfriend tag trend.
The thing is that trend even now is popular, and back then is when it started. That is like the very beginning of that was 2010.
Can you explain what it is a little bit?
The boyfriend tag is basically, you know, you sit down with like your girlfriend and she asks you questions about her, and then you have to answer these questions, and you can either do really well or you can do not so great. And I looked like an absolute idiot. I had
like
a
what's my
mop
favorite
head,
color? And you're like,
what did we do the first time we met? And I'm like, shit, I don't know, like really, like, yeah. So that ended up doing like 1.5 million, and then she's like, oh, okay, like now you got to try and do my makeup. And I was like, no, immediately again. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And, you know, lo and behold, I ended up doing it. And that one got 2.5 million views.
Shut the fuck
way.
up.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
So I was like, okay. Like, and at that point, I was like, oof, like, okay. And at that point, AdSense on YouTube was like a thing at that point. Like, it wasn't like they were chopping down ads for certain types of content or anything like that.
If you got views, you got money.
Yeah, it was very much like each of us in high school were easily doing like maybe like 1,500 in a month, like just divided in half. Like we were just
Dude, I tell you,
this is so sick.
I threw a YouTube dirt bike video up that got 2 million views and I made like $4,000.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But they've cut back on you now, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely demonetized it.
Yeah. It's like if you rely on YouTube for your ads to make money at this point, it's a lost cause. Like it's just they called it the adpocalypse.
The adpocalypse?
That's what they called it on YouTube when they realized.
Like amongst all the like heavy hitters.
And we could probably get to this because I'm sure this is what's influencing some decisions down the line. So you make these videos, they start going viral.
Can we still see them? Are they still live?
No, they're private. They're fully private. She privated them.
Wow.
Love it.
Yeah, she privated them. And she doesn't want those up. Trust me. She doesn't want them.
This was under her account.
Yeah.
Now you guys are thinking, did it? Because the first time I made money off YouTube was the first time I was like, you can fucking make money off YouTube.
Yeah.
And then my whole perspective on how to make money shifted. I was like, a video will pay you money. Why am I working?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you got hit with that in high school, but you still said, no, this isn't practical. I still think I want to go to school to be a police officer.
Yeah, because at the time, although we were making some money, it was very much still like, traditional 2010, like even in the past 10 years, people's ideology of school and everything has changed so much.
100%, yeah.
And back then it was still, even like a must, like you guys should definitely still go to school. Like you guys should do this and that, especially because both of our parents knew like we're just high school kids in a relationship. That'd be a terrible idea to just rely on like, see, if it was just YouTube, it would be different, but we're not only just relying on YouTube, we're relying on the relationship of two like 16, 17-year-old kids, right?
Yeah, to really go the distance.
Right. So that is not a good idea in any position. So yeah, I ended up going to school to essentially be a cop. But yeah.
There's some similarities. I went to school to be a pilot.
Wow. Aviation.
Yeah, but same deal. I was looking for a nice, steady job that I enjoyed because I like planes. And same deal. I thought at school you had to do it. I knew I didn't really maybe want to go into banking or something typical. And I thought the craziest thing you could do was something like a pilot. Like, how outside the box is that?
Yeah.
Got to school and then you started doing videos and I guess that changed your mind.
Yeah.
And I started doing, I started running businesses with friends, like painting franchise, like car detailing. And I was like, this is more fun, I think. And piloting looked a little sketch.
I went to school and didn't have any direction. And
you're more like, that's the normal.
Yeah. I went to school to go to school.
You went to school to go to school. And
Yeah.
I
Feel
think
good though.
most people are that way. So you were not much of a partier in high school. Were you an athlete?
In high school, not too much of a partier. I was definitely more of a like workout / judo and like boxing kind of person. I go to a party every now and then, but I wouldn't say I was in like the popular group of kids. I was like definitely like a floater.
Would you
But,
be
yeah.
if we made a popularity chart, because we've done this before.
Oh god, this is a popularity
Robbie and
chart.
I said we were like upper B. You know what I mean? Like we had a cool
the
group
fuck?
of friends that sometimes those like big inter-school parties, we got the old
You'd mix it in with the A's.
you mix it in with the A's,
like,
but who you're hanging out with in terms of like popularity with all the other girls' schools, because we went to an all-guys school.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Boom. You just dropped that on me. Like
I didn't
it was
go to all guys
casual.
Sorry, I did. Yeah. So that's how I'd break it down. But what high school did you go to?
I went to Ancaster High School.
And
Yeah.
is that in Hamilton?
It's in Ancaster, which is technically like a part of Hamilton. Yeah.
No.
It'd be like Ancaster, Dundas. Like, do you know like Dundas?
Yeah, okay.
You heard of Dundas
Yeah.
before? Like,
Yeah.
like Stony Creek, not so much.
Okay.
Ancaster, Dundas, like Waterdown,
Co-ed
Yeah, for
school.
sure.
Big?
fully co-ed. Yeah, fairly large. Yeah.
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 Probably harder because it's more. I feel like bigger. My school was small, so it
Okay.
was like small groups. You could really clearly
And it was
see.
all guys. That's crazy.
And popularity is based on like who was invited to more girls' things.
it's like a lot of dude. Like, was there a lot of fights at an all-guys school? There's a lot
Small
of-
school, really casual. I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Nice.
It was.
Nice.
I went to public school till grade 8, so I had my group of friends. Like one of my roommates, Kristen, who's slowly moving stuff behind us.
Right.
Like we met back then. I got that experience. But high school, at an all-guys school that was chill like that, you didn't have to worry about how you looked. You made like
that's
some
true,
good
that's true.
lads. Like you would interact with girls on parties on the weekends or dances, but it was a really low pressure. Like you could focus on what
Yeah.
you want type of shit.
Shit, you guys must have went crazy on the weekends though, then, because
Yeah.
you guys been deprived of women
100
majority of the
100%.
week.
I think
and
it's-
then on the weekend. Wait, is it an all girls school too? Then
You'd hang out with all these all-girls
It's whoever
schools,
had
yeah.
That's
the
dark.
most
That
ends
is-
with the
that
all.
is dark.
You think that's
fuck,
dark?
Fuck Kirill. That is dark. That's some shit that's like, whoa.
I
Like,
actually think it shaped my like. Now I work during the week. I don't even think about girls, and then on the weekend I'm like, "What's up? What's up? What's up?"
that's dark, dude. This guy's like Tinder. This guy's like Tinder,
Tinder,
Hinge, like
Hinge.
Bumble. He's like just pounding out the swipes, like just
I think I
Crazy.
I leveled it out in university. I was more co-ed focused in university during the week.
I would
I'm
hope
more
so.
just joking.
yeah.
But no, that's so you were sports. You were the odd party. You didn't
I was
really
a
drink.
floater. I was a floater
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
You like got along with all the different groups.
Yeah, I didn't like. I was not necessarily never like invited. It was just more or less like I was like bored. Like I never would go because like I kind of just got bored. And like some of the people, like the student council at my school was very like corny. Like a lot of those people were very like full of themselves. And Ancaster's kind of like Oakville in the sense of like there's like a decent amount of well-off kids.
Yeah.
So it kind of breeds a bit of like ego, I guess. So some of these kids, you know, their parents were XYZ or whatever, and it was just an interesting group of people. Really, I didn't like necessarily like tell them that I didn't like them, but like, you know, a majority of the case, I wasn't really like a huge fan. Like it wasn't the
still
most
nice
fun
to
to
them.
hang out with them. Yeah,
Yeah, I got
Still
you.
could shoot
I
the
got
shit
you.
if you needed to.
yeah, definitely.
And then you get to school and you kind of carried that mentality. Like you kind of, you know, I'm not really going to go out and get fucked up too much.
I was also, when I originally arrived at Fanshawe, I was 19 or not 19, 18?
So you're the legal
19.
age? Or, yeah.
I was just there, but Fanshawe at the time, the residence was not close to downtown.
Oh, right.
So I would hate it's like a lazy thing, but I wouldn't want to take the bus all the way from the one side of the city to like the other side of the city, and like because a lot of the times when you're at school, it's just like snowing like hard. And London
it's just winter when
London
you're at
just
school.
sucks
Totally.
for that. Like London is just so bad for that. Like it was freezing cold, and I was like, I'm not trying to get on this bus with like a bunch of like weirdos and then go all the way down to like Richmond and then catch like you could walk in the snow, but you could then take like another bus and it would take you all the way down. I was like, okay, like I don't know. Yeah, at some point I was just too lazy to do that. I was like, I'm not trying to do this right now.
And when you did the videos, would somebody drive down then because you guys weren't drinking or?
So when I started doing the videos, actually, at that point I had moved Richmond and Victoria area.
Oh, yeah.
So when it was hot, for the most part, I was just walking.
So Rob's London local. He went to high school.
Oh,
there.
I grew up in
He
London,
knows
dude.
all
It
the
gets
deal.
cold. It gets snowy down there, man.
It's freezing. Yeah, you get at least like one snow squall a year that throws everyone for a loop in the city.
I don't want to get too gummed up here because I think like the bulk of the story that I think a lot of people are going to find interesting is kind of like the transitions you've made since.
Sure,
but
yeah.
my final questions are: you get this idea at school.
Okay.
You're in a police program. You're not in media. So how do you find like a buddy to film you? Who's got the camera? Like, how did you just like strap that idea together?
So at the time, yes, I wanted to be a cop, and yes, I did like the YouTube stuff. I had always had a Canon Rebel, so camera was covered. Always had a camera.
Okay.
I had a tripod, not that I needed it. I bought like a mic that was like $100, like a super cheap mic, and then one of my buddies was in MIT.
Yeah.
And before that, he was also just like filming his own videos
From high school, like
for fun. Yeah,
yeah.
I had known him for like years.
Yeah.
And he was just willing to come down and film with me. And from there, it was just like, okay, did it, made the videos. People watched them throughout some of the schools. And then, like I said, I kind of found it corny. So I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. So then I started taking pictures and played with photography for a little while.
While at school.
Yeah, while I was there. And then I graduated, and then there was this artist. His name was Pride at the time. It's now Russell. And before that, it was like D Pride. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's from Brampton.
Okay.
Yeah, his music's good. But
Shout
essentially, he took me on tour.
Right out of school.
Fairly, yeah. Pretty much right out of school, actually. And it was about a month long, and it was throughout the States. And I took a bunch of pictures, and I took videos for him.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, and that's actually how I got into film and like video and photo.
Like those cool type of edits, like making like things look
trendy,
cool.
like cool looking stuff. 'Cause
Wicked.
I went on tour with him, and then I started shooting that kind of stuff. And then he was like, "Oh, like, do you want to shoot my music videos?" And I was like, "Whoa!" Like at the time, I was like, "I don't know if I can handle that. Like that's crazy." But I immediately just jumped in head first. I was like, "Yes!" Didn't even think about it. Said yes, and then I started doing that.
Just to not to glaze over one quick thing. So you realized you didn't want to be a police officer during school or right at that point
Oh no,
when the
it was
opportunities
during.
came? It was during.
It
So
was
did you
near-
switch into a different program?
No, he stayed.
No, I
Yeah,
finished it.
You finished
Yeah.
it with your police school.
Yeah, because I didn't want to pay more money to like restart and then do like another like 2 years of like a different program.
Oh, wow.
So you did you tell your parents this? Did you?
Yeah. My dad was like really supportive of it
Cool.
at the time because I think it's because too he had seen in the past that even with like my ex-girlfriend in high school that there was some sort of money to be made. So he was very like supportive and very like nice about it. But yeah.
So you get to the end of school, you realize you don't want to be a police officer, but then this opportunity lands in your lap, and you just take it. You kind of throw yourself into the fire. You're doing this work for him. You've now stopped doing your kind of like university content style videos completely.
Long time ago. Oh yeah.
And you're doing this stuff for him. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we first chatted, you had said you'd also kind of gone through a period of like feeling really weird about the whole thing in general.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big advocate of like you never know exactly what like your specific brand is. You almost have to like evolve into it. It's very rare that somebody knows exactly what they want to be like or what kind of videos like, precisely they want to make or what they want their image to perceive, you know? So it started with the interviews, molded into me taking photos and videos for this artist. And then I started filming the music videos for this artist. And then from there, the Funk guys, I think that's how we met actually.
Yep.
They picked me up and then I started doing videos and stuff for them, but those were more brand related videos. So for different companies and stuff like that. And then also making kind of personal content for them. And that kind of molded into me doing my own situation and then working with other brands and like hotels and tourism boards and making my own YouTube videos.
So are you solely doing your own stuff and like
right now,
kind of freelancing?
Yes, yeah.
Right now?
Mm-hmm. And I have like a friend that manages the majority of the work that I get.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he does really well. Like he's actually like killing it right now. Yeah, shout out Mitch. He's been
shout
killing
out
it.
Mitch.
Yeah, he's been absolutely killing it.
So you get these things with Russ. You still have your Rebel, or did you upgrade?
I had a Rebel for a little while, but at that point, I had been doing brand ambassador gigs. Like, you know, when you can do those like Coke sampling things and stuff like that.
Like Mosaic and
yeah. Because I didn't want to waste like all of my time working like a full-time like shit like Tim Hortons thing or something.
You want to be flexible.
Yeah. And I would have gone crazy. Like I wouldn't have had the motivation to keep making stuff if I was doing that. And I knew that. And so I just did a bunch of brand ambassador gigs, saved up a bunch of money, then dropped all of my money, literally all of the money that I had
later
on a camera. Yeah.
Nice.
And what'd you go
Was it the
after?
Sony?
No, it's a Panasonic GH5.
Oh, like the one you have now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a video or
it's
picture?
heavy video, but the photos are fine. The photos are still great, but
just
it's very
mirrorless, right?
good for video. Yes.
Is that still the same one you're using today?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Given I've messed up one of the bodies, so I had to get another body of the same camera. But it's been a crazy good camera. It still is a really good camera.
And doing the music videos, like, did you have like buddies now that are in the scene to help you, like, you know, get lights or like get extra filmers?
Yeah, I'm not really doing the music videos as much now, but when I was doing the music videos, we would always sit back and kind of look at like, okay, like, do we need to rent something from a store, or, you know, do we know somebody that has something? And that was kind of how we figured that out. And usually we would know somebody that had something in order to make it work, or we would rent it.
So you're kind of you're a figure out by take the opportunity. You're confident you can kind of figure it out with your skill set. When I met you though, you were doing, I don't know if it was through Funk or through a private thing. You were doing a branch video for a Spikeball League in Toronto.
I think that was Funk. Yeah,
that was Funk.
Chase.
Is that when you guys originally met too?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So Rob, were you featured in that flick as well? Yeah. So Robbie and I were.
That's where I remember you from. Is Spikeball.
Yeah, exactly.
Robbie and I were
We walked with that Lululemon.
lead actors.
The Lululemon was involved.
Yo, we were lead actors in this Spikeball commercial.
Chosen and picked from the Spikeball.
Handpicked.
Auditions made.
Biggest Spikeball studs in the land. And I see Pat, and I recognize him from what he used to do, because I used to watch your videos. I thought they were fucking hilarious.
You recognized him
100 right off the bat, and I don't recognize anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
big, actually.
That's big.
This guy will see anyone, anyone that's important, and just completely gloss over them.
That's funny.
And we started talking, and I think you had just released, I don't know if it was then or a little down the line, a video online talking about your journey. I think that was like your first YouTube launch.
Yeah. It was a video that I came out with, and I basically just like, it was kind of like an about me, I guess, but it was kind of like saying like, I'm making my own content now. This is what I want to do, and stuff like that.
I might have misread that video, but when I watched, and this was a while ago, I thought that you had mentioned that you had gone through like a tough like mental health time.
Yeah. So for a little while, so my mom passed away back in 2010.
Okay.
And that was pretty tough as well, because going through that, and then, you know, she modeled herself, and she did a lot of freelance stuff, and she was a fairly creative person in her own right. And like, I never necessarily did everything just because of like, oh, my mom did this, so I have to do this.
Yeah.
But it was definitely, you know, a point of inspiration that I would take from. But yeah, there's been hard times along the way all the time. Like, cancer has affected so many people. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. And I don't even know if you specifically said that in the video. Like, if you did, I'm sorry. My memory is
Right. The video came out like a
shit.
while ago. So
But like, is it something where that was just like a situational mental health thing for you, or is it like, are you the type of person that you think you have some demons you kind of like work with?
Oh
or?
yeah. No, it's definitely ongoing. It's
Yeah?
definitely not like, you got something and it just goes away forever. It's definitely, and I think everybody's got some demons that they work with pretty regularly, but that's one of them for me for sure.
And but I'm saying like pre that terrible incident, like you weren't battling with like
Before that, definitely still like there's some things. I always had anxiety even like as a kid, and I'd always been dealing with like stuff like that, but it wasn't really until then that it had been a lot more like enhanced, like amplified,
obviously,
I guess.
Yeah.
In which then it was an ongoing thing that I had to just kind of learn to deal with, and a lot of that was dealt with through making the videos and doing the other things like that, because
Throwing it to work.
Exactly. And when I'm doing that and when I'm filming things or making things, that's kind of the only time I'm not thinking about anything other than that. It's kind of like when people go to the gym and they work out, and it's like a form of meditation to some degree, and that's kind of how I would describe that.
The only reason I bring it up is because I think it's one of the most universal things that like people we talk to, our friends, deal with is mental health, because we're just on like the verge of discovering it, like, and people saying it more openly. And what I've found through talking, we've done, I don't know, 70 episodes now, Rob?
Over 70. Yeah.
Holy shit, you guys are legends.
Everyone's got a little something.
Oh yeah.
And what I find is that I actually think, as much as it's a negative and it's hard and you have to deal with it, I think it's what drives a lot of people's ships.
Oh, definitely.
I think sorry, do you want to finish your point?
No.
First, I was going to say, I think a lot of the people that we speak to as well happen to be involved in creative endeavors or like industries where it is kind of a bit lonely. So, and those are kind of, even if you're not dealing with some sort of mental health issues, I find those can be a little bit
isolating,
and can get down on you to manage as well. So
what I think you do well, and I don't know if I've misread it, but I think you do well working with people, like kind of networking, being that social guy. Whereas I think we sometimes isolate ourselves when we work on creative projects, but it's the demons that I think if you can get a harness on them, like small things. An example, I was super skinny growing up. My mom tried to like feed me like protein shakes and meal replacements to fatten me up,
and pasta and mayonnaise.
And I'm gonna let that slide, Rob. And other weird dishes to fatten me up. But the point is I have like a little bit of like weird, no matter how much I work out, I always feel skinny now. But as an adult, I recognize that, but yet I still use that to go to the gym all the time and like get bigger. Cause I'm like, okay, I know it's a bit absurd. I'm an average size guy, but I go to the gym. I'm like, you skinny piece of shit. Like,
Jesus. Oh my God.
You know what I mean? It's like, but I threw a harness on that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit more literal, and like a lot of people may not be as aware, but I think they throw harnesses on their demons a little bit. Like you said, you felt good when you work. You also do a lot of work, and that's probably why you're a little bit successful because of it. And so the people that are dealing with some stuff, it's not just the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? If you can understand a little bit, maybe it fuels your fire. Maybe it gets you going. So you make the switch from this guy right into funk, or did you do personal stuff first?
So basically, while I was filming with this artist, I was making Instagram stories, and what I would do is there's this one creator, and he really inspired me. His name's Jesse Driftwood, and he makes
dope name, by the way.
Yeah, that's his like name too. It's crazy, but he basically would film a lot of vertical video, and his challenge was that Instagram stories disappear in 24 hours. So it would force him to create something new every single day, because that story will no longer be there. So even if you were to try and vlog every day on YouTube, those vlogs are always still going to stick around. But this forces you to make something different every day and to come up with something completely new. And I thought that was really cool, and it was really easy to do. So while I was shooting with this artist, I would kind of go around throughout the day, and I would just film shit, and I would start filming things, and then I'd create a little like vertical edit. And I wouldn't say every day, but I'd say like 3-4 times a week, I would put together these like cool like Instagram stories. And at the time,
you post that on the artist's
No, I would do that
Instagram
on
story?
my
Oh, that's
own.
yours.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
kind of like a what I'm up to. So even if it was like behind the scenes of me shooting like him, or like if I'm meeting up with like a friend or something, you can make anything look cool. You can literally make anything look cool. You could take this Tim Hortons cup that looks like super ugly. Shout out to Tim Hortons, and you could make it look really cool, like depending on how you shoot it. And then I would make these Instagram stories, and at the time nobody was really filming Instagram stories for no reason, so people found it like kind of interesting, and they were like, oh cool.
Did you have a bit of a following coming out of school?
A little bit
From the videos?
Yeah, a little bit, but nothing too wild, but like a little bit.
Yeah.
Because people didn't connect to me through the videos as much as they connect to the fact that their friend is in the video.
And they share it because that also so genius, right?
Right, yeah.
But anyway.
But the part that bothered me, I'll just quickly even touch on that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the part that bothered me about that is I recognized the marketing behind the fact that people would tag their friends in it, and then the school would relate to the video. So everyone at the school would see it, and then they would tag their friends. That's all great. But, you know, being selfish, I was always like, but like, what about like what I create, and what about like people liking me for making these videos? People just want to see their friends getting drunk. People just want to see whatever. But I started doing it because
you were just a facilitator.
Yeah, I
basically.
didn't want to be the facilitator. I wanted to be like the comedy, like the comedian. Like I wanted to be funny,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
So like that's great that people were like tagging their friends and people found it funny, and like it is. I'll take it for what it's worth. But at the same time, I wanted people to find me funny and not just like their friends being fucked up funny. So
I'll give you props for that, because it's hard to leave something that's doing well, right? It's hard to take something that's giving you some form of success and say, you know what, it's not exactly what I want. But no, it's a lot of people are afraid to admit stuff like that too. Like same deal with us, man. Like we want a bit of that too. And that's why we kind of went on our paths. So you did that, and I'll give you props for that. You're making these vertical stories. You have a little bit of buzz, nothing crazy,
Right, yeah.
but at least an audience that is going to see the work you're doing.
Mhm,
So it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
for nothing. And let's pick up there. 'Cause
right,
we
and then
sidetrack.
funk. So while I was with this artist and I was filming the music videos and I was doing all this other stuff, I had met Everett, which was one of the people that is in charge of doing the content, the photo, the video, all that stuff. So he was like, oh, you want to do some videos? You want to do some stuff like that? And I was like, sure, why not? So we shot a couple things here and there. And then I became a part of their team for a while, and that was actually really fun because we got a couple opportunities with different brands and we got to travel a bit, so that was cool.
Whereabouts did you travel?
Specifically LA. LA was a really fun time with them because we had just figured out, it worked out really well. The hotel that we were working with at the time allowed us to be there for like 7 days, and like we didn't pay for anything. And then there was like, we rented like there's such a classic
I've seen these
LA.
videos.
I showed you
too.
the videos.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they're super dope.
it was
Chris
such
and
a
I was in
classic,
some of the
like-
clips too.
Like, did you go multiple times, or was it?
No, that time we only went that time. I had
Okay.
went before with the artist to LA before.
right.
But we had only went that time. But that time was like super fun because like I said, like the hotel was like they had us, and then we rented a G-Wagon, like just such a classic like LA thing. And then
I
And
love it.
helicopter.
yeah, and then we knew they knew a guy named Robin, and Robin does a lot of the helicopter flights for like Logan Paul and like all these other people.
Nice.
And so we reached out and we were like, yo, like let's do a video for you, you know, like whatever. So it wasn't like some sort of crazy paid thing by any means. We just wanted to get up. So he's like, sure, come up, like make the thing. So we went up, flew all us around the Hollywood sign, did all that stuff over the city. And yeah, that was super dope. And then we got this wild Airbnb that was in like, I think it was
Like the
Topanga.
hills, yeah,
it was like Topanga. And it was like this crazy treehouse looking thing. And then we hired a model, and it was like, we just shot, it was like for fun, but like it was a super good time. And some of the shit the model said, I was like, oh my God, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah.
So
like-
she was in LA. I didn't know if she was a friend or if she was just like
no, she's hired. Fully hired.
Fully hired.
Fully hired. Not a friend.
not a friend.
Sorry, yeah, she's not even gonna. Yeah, she. Oh man, it was interesting, man. That's a whole other thing is shooting with models and the experiences that come with that. Like sometimes some of them I just like, you know what I mean. Some of them are great, like super like creative, smart people, and then sometimes you hit a model, and this goes for almost anybody, not even just
or
models.
just profession.
Just
even.
yeah, you run into some of them, and I'm just like, what are you like? What like what are you on? Like,
And was she one?
she was one of them. She was one of them. Yeah, she had the ego of like something I had never seen in my life.
If it makes you
but-
feel any better, there is maybe a less than 1% chance this will ever ever hit her ears.
Even if she did, that's fine. Like, it's one of those things where I wouldn't say anything I wouldn't expect to say to their face. So I mean,
you're pretty like honest, unapologetic.
I mean, like, it is what it is. She came out and she was like, like, I could do runway, but the reality of it is I would rather build my own brand. And I was like, I agree. Okay, yes. And she goes, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna make positive captions, and that was it. Just positive captions. I was like, wow, nobody's ever done that before. Like, wow, that is really creative, Lib. Like,
You know
Liberty.
what?
Like, Liberty was her name. Like, shout out
Also a
Liberty.
dope name. Yo, Liberty and your friend
It's,
like
tough, like-
something Driftwood should meet up, should link up.
No.
Liberty,
No.
Liberty Driftwood.
Jesse is like the
insane.
smartest, most like creative, like
Yeah.
literally has a kid and he's a creative and like owns his own, like he's on some wild shit. And Liberty would be like, I could have been a runway model, and he'd be like, I don't fucking care.
Liberty,
Like, he'd be
or
like,
Jesse's already a runway model somehow.
Jesse's just like talented as fuck.
So you're working with the Funk guys,
Yeah.
and then how long are we with them for?
On and off. Well, particularly I was on with them on like a contract. I think it was for like not really that long. It might have been like 3 or 4 months, but I was working with them off contract where I was basically a part of that team for the better part of maybe a year and a half. And then from there, it wasn't really anything personal by any means. It was more or less like I just wanted to kind of create my own thing, and more than anything, anyone that starts, any kind of like, whether it's a podcast or a business or whatever, you need pretty much all your time dedicated to like yourself, as bad as that is, like as selfish as it is, not bad, but selfish.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough time to create the content that I wanted to make for myself if I was only working with them. So with that being said, I started doing my own thing and started making my own videos and reaching out to brands so I could kind of like build my own image. And Everett, one of the guys, actually kind of made me realize that, because he said, like, you got to ask yourself, like, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And like, whatever. And yeah, it was nothing personal. It was just, that's the way that
You're still
I
buds.
saw
You're
it.
still buds.
Yeah. We're cool. Yeah.
And how long ago was this that you left them?
Might have been a while. It was a while ago now, like 8 months maybe, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a while, yeah. I've worked with them too, like off contract and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a while.
And this guy Mitch now manages kind of all your bookings and helps you get these gigs.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so I've been friends with Mitch for a while. We used to just like work out and just do just like classic stuff, not content related.
Yeah.
Does he have like a management company or something?
That's the thing is, no, he doesn't, but he's had a passion for sales, specifically sales, for a long time. So like cold calls, like he
what a
was
weird passion, but fucking God bless that guy,
he
dude.
likes cold calls. He has such an interesting motto for certain things too. Like, for example, when somebody leaves their phone number on like a website or something, he just calls. Like, he's like, it's just like leaving your front door open. Like, he's like, I'm walking in. Like, he does like that meme, and I'm like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, are you fucked? He's like, sometimes you gotta just walk in the front door, Pat. I'm like, okay, man, like, do whatever you gotta do. But
See, if I saw someone's front door open, I'd be like, oh, maybe I should go close that.
for like
Exactly.
for like Wrist and Rye, for example, for like your business, it would be like he like scopes your email, finds your email. You're like, maybe you're like taking a shit someday, and it'll like caller, like you're getting a call. It's like, hello, Trav, this is Mitch, just calling on behalf of blah, 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 blah. Like, you're just gonna get it. You might just get
But
it.
like, I respect that.
Yeah, he grinds, man, and he gets a lot of he's starting to understand, how to find emails and how to like scope around and find the right contacts. And then, he's also multi-talented in a sense where I've showed him how to film things and how to operate gimbals and stuff.
So he can
like
also
that.
help.
Yeah, well, so much so that he's like filmed a lot of my stuff of me in the shot.
AKA the perfect business partner for you.
Yeah, so that works out pretty well.
Fuck, that's awesome. So you've just been getting personal, like brand related gigs and paying your bills with your business partner.
Yeah,
which is fucking dope. What an evolution.
Yeah, it's definitely a path for sure. The path looks a little weird, but
we were watching some of your videos recently on or on your channel, and I saw you've done some crazy trips. Like you were in Egypt for a bit.
Oh yeah.
Was that through Funk or through Mitch and you?
No, that was on my own actually. So yeah, with all of with that kind of stuff, with the videos that you're talking about, another thing that's kind of got me into certain places was some of the people that I saw as like and I still see as like idols and people that I respect on a creative level. years ago, I ended up connecting with them because they had either seen those other videos that I were making, or I had reached out, and luckily enough, they weren't like huge at the time, so we had been able to communicate. But I'm friends with a lot of these people, and they'll get gigs, and then we'll collab on things. So
Cool.
for Egypt, for example, there's a creative named J.R. Ali, and the guy is like a beast with video, like just some crazy shit.
Was he the guy that had the house
That you stayed at?
that you stayed at?
Which house? Oh no, that wasn't his house.
Okay.
No, that wasn't his house.
Is
That
this
was-
guy like a big YouTube?
This guy does similar like cinematic video stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like much larger than I am. But his content is of a different.
Obviously not physically.
No, not physically. But he makes like it's a different style. And it's really really good. So actually, the contact in Egypt had found his stuff,
Okay.
and then he included me in on it. And then we had both done like we then looped in the airline. So Egypt Air is like their airline.
Yeah.
So then we then worked with the airline, and then we worked with the company Visit Egypt, which is our friend Ahmed, who runs that in Egypt, and and it's kind of in collaboration with their tourism board. So we went and we visited a bunch of different locations in Egypt and basically showcased them and shot what like the lifestyle was kind of like there.
So can I ask you, because a lot of this, like you said, you do stuff for yourself. Like this podcast was started to help Robbie and I, because we don't fucking know things.
Right.
And so we ask a lot of questions, and it's the only reason we record it is because we're hoping people also like want to know the answers to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I see what you're doing with these collaborators and, linking everything up. And I wish that we could have that same sort of like collaborative network of just creatives that, we're making some music, let's do it together, or we're doing a show together, let's make some videos. But I find myself not in a crew like that. And it's definitely a fault of mine somehow in terms of like reaching out, or like, what's your philosophy on like connections, or like,
Right.
just how you run your kind of day to day, your week to week, to get all these
Right.
gigs and link them together.
And I wouldn't say ours is bad either.
It's
I mean,
not bad.
It's growing. It's like
Yeah.
we're doing better, but it's
We're slow.
We're slow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I guess there's like a couple things to that, as far as, collaboration is such a huge part of any industry, whether it's video, whether it's just content, photo, anything like that. But the most important thing about collaboration is that it has to make sense. And that's something that a lot of people kind of like flop on, in the sense where like, oh, I reached out to this huge guy and he didn't respond. Why didn't he respond? And it's like, as much as a lot of these people are homies or friends or whatever, there needs to be some sort of mutual benefit. Maybe these people want to tell their story. Maybe they don't want to tell their story. So if somebody says, no, I don't want to be on the podcast, it's probably like their own insecurity. You know what I mean?
True.
Or it's something related to that. But as far as is finding people to collaborate with, for me specifically, it's a lot of people that are in my niche. And because the niche of video, I wouldn't say it's small, but like once you're in like deep into the community,
The movers.
everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. It's all the way up the chain, all the way up to the people that have millions of followers. We all almost have each other's like phone numbers. So it's one of those things where it's like very like, it's a small world and anyone can really cross over.
So you kind of built up your island, and then did you reach out to people, or did it just naturally kind of get connected on things?
So what originally happened was I had connected with one creator through, I think it was like Facebook, like a long time ago, and we had been friends for like years. And then from there, I had done videos with him, and so other bigger creators would then associate me. They'd see, oh, who's this person, and even if it was like who's that person, that's enough that if I reach out, at least I have a reason to be like, I'm here. I'm not like somebody who just started making videos. I'm not like temporary, because temporary is another big thing. People will just jump in and out of their industry.
Yeah.
And people will, when they want to collaborate, they want to collaborate with people who are going to be around, who are going to like make the difference somehow. So for me, I connected with one person, which kind of gave me, I guess, like a cosign, you could call it.
Cool.
And then when I collab with somebody else, it's like another cosign. And then once there's two people that are like, oh, I've worked with this person, it becomes like a bit of like umbrella, I guess, so that people have been like, oh, he's worked with these people. Oh, great. It's kind of just like building a resume, but with creators.
And
I guess.
that initial reach out, were you just, like you said, natural collaborations or collaborations that make sense? Were you like, you know what, it makes sense for me to work with this guy, or did you just send out like an appreciation?
So it started with me just being like, I really like your work. This is really good. Here's some of my work. and I also took into account, okay, this guy's huge. I'm not. Like, what can I offer?
Right.
You know, because there's no point of me collaborating with somebody for views if I don't get any. You know, so it's like, why do that? Instead, like the content that you want yourself in, like let me shoot it. You know, like let me shoot you.
Smart.
So it's like, because this guy also makes videos.
Yeah.
But like, so as a videographer, or as a filmmaker, as a content creator of any kind, a lot of the times you also need to be in the shot too. So
What a creative way to
who's
attack
gonna
that.
film you? It's who's gonna film you? Like I can. And like here's some of the stuff I've done, right? So then they're like, oh, okay, like this guy's done like whatever. He's filmed a lot of his own videos. And at the time I hadn't worked with anybody major. But the music videos in itself and other things like that were enough to be like, okay, look, like I know how to man a camera.
Yeah.
I know how to like get the right like shots. Like I know my compositions. Like, you know, it's on you. Like if not, it's fine. But like think about it kind of deal, right? And then it just evolved from there basically.
Would you say you're more focused right now on building like your own personal brand, like with videos, I guess like content, like going to Egypt and like the cool cinematic stuff that you're doing, or more focused on getting deals with companies to like shoot their commercials and such, or maybe they're like both like in sort of one umbrella.
It's an umbrella for sure.
Okay.
It's definitely an umbrella because the people who you work with can also help build out that image in that your brand. You know, like for example, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a creator named Alan Palander, maybe, but maybe not. He is a photographer originally, and his photos are absolutely amazing. But he is known to work with some of the highest end brands humanly possible. And people are like, how on earth is this person doing this? I mean, not really how on earth. His content is amazing.
Yeah.
But you would never see Alan doing something with even like Walmart or something. Even if Walmart was like, we'll give you like $10,000 to do something or $15,000, Alan would be like, no, like I work with like Aston Martin. Like, you know what I mean? There's a very specific like niche to his brand, and he only works with companies that fall under that niche to support his image, which is how I would argue anyone should really do their work. I wouldn't want to work with somebody that I wouldn't want to represent myself with, right? Because that just is a part of your image, and your brand is the people you work with are a part of your brand too. In the end of all that.
Because you put them on your thing and say, hey, I just did this thing with Aston Martin. I just did a thing with Gucci.
Like I endorse that. So that means that you are, that is a part of your brand as well. So
that's cool.
I would say I focus on all of it. One thing that I'd say that I'm going to be focusing on more too is to be able to put out videos even more often. I'm probably going to start doing the odd like informative video and kind of like educating people on how I shoot certain things. So for example, if I went and I shot like let's say I shot a commercial for like Lexus or something like that, I would have one of my friends come out and shoot me shooting the commercial so that I could then voice over that video and say, this is how I shot this. Like
that's cool.
So you would be shooting the commercial and you'd have B-cam guys shooting you shooting the commercial.
I actually have a video like that that's coming out very soon. But essentially what that one is I went into a boxing gym with this girl. Her name's Briar. She's like super talented. She does like dance, like boxing.
Could beat me up.
Oh, she could beat the shit out of you.
Nice.
She's crazy. Yeah.
What up,
she's
Briar?
Strong as hell. And I went in with like the run and gun mindset. So I didn't plan out any of the shots. I didn't do anything like that.
Just had Steadicam kind of.
Yeah, and I went in and on the spot, it's like, okay, I'm going to shoot this for this reason. I'm going to shoot this for this reason. And at the end of the day, it's all going to make sense, right? And it turned out really well. I just posted the edit actually on Instagram, but the behind the scenes of how I shot the edit and everything is going to be coming out soon. But I'm going to be migrating kind of into that as well.
That's cool. That's kind of like how Planet Earth does it. If you watch their secondary stuff that comes out afterwards, and they show you how they got like all the penguins running around and stuff. It's cool stuff.
Yeah, he's a fucking penguin. No, that's jokes, man. I gotta give you props. I've just been I respect what you're doing. I love the videos of you flipping in the gym and shit, doing parkour. There is kind of like you're not really doing the vlog stuff. You're not really doing the influencer stuff.
Not as much.
But boy, do you got the fucking toolkit if you wanted to, because all those guys do like flips and shit.
Yeah,
skydive.
It is a known thing.
A girl in a thong, and then I don't know what the final. I forget what the final pieces are, but like that's like the starter kit for.
You need like a jungle. You need a really hot girl,
blue water,
some blue ass water.
But what I was gonna say is, at the end of this, we'll put some plugs in because a lot of our friends might work at businesses that could use.
Sure.
Your shit is unreal. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah,
appreciate
so
that.
good.
We're
Thank you,
legitimate
man.
fans. I was just happy to work with you, even in a small capacity for Wrist and Rye. You literally just were like, "Hey, man, I like your stuff. If you just toss me a couple, I do cool stuff."
Dude, I actually still wear those like all the time.
Dope.
I actually do. I still wear them all the
Unreal.
time.
And you're like, I do cool stuff. They'll just show up in edits.
Yeah. Yeah, because I actually like it. Like I'll wear it. Yeah.
So I obviously was just pumped to see all that stuff,
Yeah.
and you're definitely top of mind as our music gets bigger for just like filming shit where we look dope.
For
and-
sure. Yeah, man.
I got another question for you.
Okay.
Did I see you work with Bombardier? Doing was it
Oh,
Bombardier?
the three-wheeler.
The three-wheel thing?
Oh,
what was
yeah,
that?
Yeah. It's Can-Am. Yeah, the
Can-Am,
which is,
okay.
I guess, like Bombardier or whatever their
Yeah.
BRP or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How are those things?
Those are super dope. But then again, I'm also not like an experienced motorcycle like rider, whatever. You know, like so I've heard interesting things about like from one person like translating from a motorcycle to a three-wheel.
Yeah.
However, from somebody who's never ridden anything, that thing is fast as hell.
And you
That
could
thing
do it
was
with just a
fast.
driver's license, or did you need a motorcycle's
I
license?
got a motorcycle's license
Yeah,
for
okay.
that. But it was quick. It was a 900, I
Yeah.
think. And it had balls. Like it had balls for sure. And because it had those two wheels at the front, you could
Just slide around.
you could drift. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because one of the days it rained and I was not like fully prepared for how much this thing could slide. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like I would take off and I'd like start moving and I'd have to be like, okay, I gotta chill here. This is like a lot.
Fuck,
Like-
I'm
And where were you
jealous, man.
driving it?
oh yeah, I was driving it.
No, where?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I was driving it in Calgary, which is
Okay.
in Alberta, because
Yeah.
I had done something with their tourism board. Basically, Calgary had this thing, Creative House is what it was called. And they invited a bunch of creators to basically make content. So they'd have you down for X amount of time and they would come up with, or they'd work with you for like an itinerary. So
Yeah.
ours was like, we got to go up on like caves and go up on mountains and go to Banff as part of it. And then there was like, we got to stay downtown Calgary and basically kind of highlight the city in that sense. And we were like, okay, well, let's reach out to people in the meantime as well so that we can kind of add to this. And Can-Am was one of them. And I just kind of wanted to ride it and do stuff like before this happened, before the snow kicked
Yeah.
in. So,
Well, okay, and now it's you and Mitch reaching out and stuff.
yeah.
So,
dope.
look dope, super jealous. Everyone's got to check your shit out so that they can get a little jealous and fired up too. The final thing before we wrap this up, and I'm so curious to see how you react to this, but way back, you put up a video being like, if I put out a workout plan, would you
Yeah.
guys want it?
Yeah, I have done that.
And that's when I started being like, yeah, this guy is fucking huge. And I was like,
funny.
I kind of would want it. And then it was around that time that I started seeing this other content workout guy, Grego Gallagher.
Oh my God.
And
man.
first of all, I have a weird story with him where my buddy was neighbors with him.
Oh man.
And my buddy was just having a pool party, and he's just like casually telling me, he's like, yeah, my neighbor's kind of an odd dude. He beats up on this like body bag guy in
I
his
know exactly what you're talking
he's like
about.
he like just like does
Oh,
martial arts in his front
no.
yard, and
Oh,
and I don't
no.
really know what to do about it. He's like telling me
no.
this story, and then all of a sudden I hear a voice on the other side of the fence being like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was him. Overheard my buddy describe it to me, and I didn't know what this guy looked like.
Oh my
right?
God, no.
I didn't know what he looked like, so I immediately chirp back and I go, "Shut the fuck up!"
Oh.
Like, right? I'm like, there's a whole party of
Oh.
dudes here. Like, what are you gonna do?
Internally cringing
And
so
then,
hard right
and
now.
then after the fact, my friend shows me who it is. He's like this shredded dude
Oh, man.
who maybe could probably eat my shit
Oh.
for breakfast, I'd say. So that was a bit of a bad call. But then I look at all his workout videos. You've obviously seen him.
I know who it is, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I thought of, first of all, he makes probably a good amount of coin doing that.
Oh yeah, well, dude, have you guys ever heard of Kino Body workouts?
That's his shit, right?
That's his, yeah.
So-
So did really well, actually.
Right,
Yeah.
so
He's a little like interesting, but yeah.
whatever
yeah.
it is, he's making money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was just thinking with your kind of skill set,
Mm-hmm.
that could be a path where you could make some fucking change.
It could, yeah.
Because you have, I don't know if it's like if you've always been a bigger dude, but like you have the body that
That's funny.
you could market and the content creation ability.
Thanks,
like
I
I'd pay
appreciate
for
that,
it.
man.
I'd pay for it.
I appreciate that. It's definitely something that I've considered in the past. I think I'd want to be a lot larger as like an entity before just being like, you know, okay, I'm actually gonna legitimately drop a huge like workout plan, like just buy it, like put it up on like a website and have people buy it. But you never know, like something in the future to think about for sure. And funny enough, I used to be, because you had mentioned that you were really skinny.
Yeah.
I used to
Stick figure.
I used to be a rake in high school.
Give me your workout.
Really?
I used to be a rake. I used to be
Yeah.
a rake because, you know, like it's just the long kind of lanky like body type. That's just the way that it was. Like, and even when I was doing judo and I was doing boxing and other things like that, I still do a lot of boxing right now. But when I was doing those things, those aren't really like
They
muscle
melt calories, man.
they're not really
weight.
they're not really like muscle building things. So I started lifting weights in high school, and then from there, you know, into college, obviously I was in policing. I started lifting weights, and I started understanding kind of like what worked for my body specifically, and then I just like attacked that, and I was like, yeah, well, this is easy, and I just kind of just made it more of like a lifestyle as opposed to being like, you gotta get in the gym every fucking day, like you gotta do, because some people are so like culty about it,
Yeah.
and it's like, yes, like sure, be as culty as you want, whatever, but I think more importantly, just make it something that you're used to doing regularly, and something that where like you're not going to get anxiety if you just miss one day, because you're like, oh, I'll go tomorrow, and then like actually go tomorrow. But like, don't get too caught up in it, because if it's so easy to get too caught up in it and be like you were saying, like you're like, I work out because I'm like, I don't want to be skinny. You know what I mean? It's like, that's good. But like once it gets too much, then it's like, oh shit, like I can't miss a day, and like it gets like really intense. But
Yeah,
like, as long as you can keep it as like because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It's something where you just need to do it, you know, regularly, and then you'll be like, oh shit, like I look, you know, pretty good right now, or basically like that.
If I were to get a little 5-minute selfish preview of like kind of like not like what you do exactly, I don't care, but just like you know, how often you try to at least keep it up, and how focused you are on your diet, because
how long you're there for,
and
your
like
diet, what shakes,
what exercise,
what are your macros,
what brands, but just like a general idea of like how you try to hit it each week.
So weekly, so I go to a gymnastics gym, and I also box, but I also lift weights, so it's kind of hard to fit that in the week. But how it normally goes is I do my splits as most people would, from like Monday to Friday. It'll be like chest tries, back buys, like shoulders, something, and then like legs, and then usually on the weekends or in between, even at the ends of some of those workouts, I'll box. So whether that's like sparring with like people that have also had like boxing experience, or me going even like to the club like late at night and boxing, or you know, every Sunday they have an open gym in Burlington BG's, which is it's just like an open gymnastics gym, and I go and I train there because I've had training for long enough now that I just like take it into my own hands, and I'll just like do some conditioning, I'll do some flips and stuff, and I've never really done any core specific conditioning ever. It's always just been through the different activities. So it's always been like the gymnastics has caused the core to build up, or like the martial arts has helped out a bunch of other things and stuff like that. So I would do my splits just as anyone else would throughout the week, but during a lot of those days, there's different activities involved, like boxing or gymnastics or things of that nature.
And food wise, how much you shoveling in?
Yeah, I eat a lot. Probably like 5 times a day. A lot of like rice and chicken, to be totally honest. And like I'm a big stir fry guy. I'm not really good at like cooking. So rice and chicken, stir fry related things is generally like a lot of eggs. I eat a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
It sounds like so meatheady, but yeah, I love eggs.
Do you cut out like, do you eat bread or?
I eat bread, yeah.
Yeah, you eat anything.
Yeah,
You're not very
you
strict
do
with
that
it,
much activity.
That's the
you
thing.
just shovel it in.
Yeah.
I don't really like to nitpick too much on like my fats, or like my, like how much sugar am I doing, or like I take, you know, my macros is something that I'm aware of, but I don't want to obsess over the like specifics of how much fats am I getting or how much this. It's like I know I have like an approximate idea, but I'm more kind of focused on the training and then fulfilling how many calories I actually need, because that's honestly probably one of the hardest parts. Like it's hard enough to do that as it is, let alone trying to keep track of like how much sugar, or like how much, or you know, how many fats, like, and all this other stuff. So
yeah,
as long as I'm meeting that amount, or if I want to gain a bit of weight, I'll just, you know, I'll go ahead of it. And then if I want to go, I'll just go into deficit and I'll lose weight if I want, or it's kind of like one of those things.
I'm the choir, man. Like I lose weight just existing. Like if
how's a beer lose like 3 pounds?
I know,
like,
they're like, don't do these, it'll fatten you up. I'll do that. I'll eat cake. I could eat cake for a month and I'd lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's how it goes, man.
All the stuff you've said, all I want to say is thanks for doing this. If there's anything else you want to get out, or if you think we kind of
Any final words or anything you want to touch on, plug?
Well, I think as far as just everything that we've talked about so far, I think as far as anything creative goes, you just got to be, really consistent and open to new ideas, and don't have your mind just only set on one very specific thing. Kind of like let opportunities come to you and see where the opportunities and what they mold you into, I think.
I like that.
And I want to we'll keep chatting, and we got a lot of stuff going on. I'd love to be your test subject, patient zero, for your workout plan that you're going to develop in a year.
Let's do it.
If you can turn me from this what did I call myself earlier? This fucking
Like a scarecrow or something?
Yeah,
You
fucking
said something
stick
like-
figure to a good size, man. You'll make millions. And then otherwise, keep killing it.
Thank you, man.
We'll keep in touch on all our creative stuff.
Mhm.
And everyone that listen, just fucking flood all his shit. Because
we'll post all of it in the show notes. Tag all of Pat's stuff.
if you got a brand,
'cause you need to check it out.
yeah,
It's
if you got a
cool
brand
stuff.
that needs that type of work, or just a guy to talk to, reach out. And otherwise, let's have a fucking sick week.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys for
Tom,
having
Pat.
me.
Yeah, and we'll see you next.
Tuesday.
Hey.
Now give me one good reason why I should leave. This is my house, these are my friends, it's all up to me. Oh, sing it with me now. If Toronto's your hometown,